Yo, what's going on, guys? This is Kamen 64 back again with another video. And for today's video, speaking of Kamen Rider, which is the name of my YouTube channel, that's going to be the main topic of this video. Now, before I get into that, I'm going to say that I'm a huge Kamen Rider fan. And I know it's kind of strange because even though my channel is named after Kamen Rider, I rarely have that many Kamen Rider related topics on here. I actually do have a few, but not really that much. So, I have some of my Kamen collections right here. See? Now, my guy in DVD, I did an unboxing video of it a couple years ago, and I think it's still up on my channel. I don't have that many Rider games, but I do plan on getting more. Also, yeah. By the way, you gotta definitely check out Kamen Rider Dragonite. It's amazing. The first ever good Kamen Rider adaptation we ever had so far. And last but not least, I have this. I got this guy at Anime Boss in 2018. And of course, there are two other figures of toys. They're like those driver thingies, given things from Kamen Rider X-Aid. I don't know where they are. They're partly misplaced. I put them somewhere, so I gotta look for those. So yeah, now let's get into the real topic of this video. So this video is kind of like a somewhat of a theory that I have. So in this video, I have a slightly theory of did toy originally plan to end Kamen Rider during the early phases of its revival, back in the early 2000s, the start of this century right here. So apparently, that I have heard from some YouTubers, well, one YouTuber that apparently, and I think it was stated that apparently Toei was planning on keeping Kamen Rider's revival short when they revived it back in 2000 with Kuga. So what happened was, apparently, Kamen Rider, so there were plans to, not have Kamen Rider, the Kamen Rider revival go on, because they were planning, I think, that Toei didn't want to, keep it going, so I think they were planning on trying to end the series, after Agito. But then, what happened was apparently 9/11 happened in 2001. Yeah, a tragic day for us all. And apparently what happened was, I think, one of the executives who worked at Toei kind of convinced them to keep the series going, to kind of teach kids justice in the world and stuff like that. I think maybe that was probably good because the person, I guess that person just wanted to show people, there's always a glimmer of light at the end of the tunnel where every day may see grim, dark, and brutal and terrible at times. There's always some good to come out of it, or at least some good. So I guess that's why he probably kind of convinced Toei to keep Kamen Rider going on. So I was thinking that maybe Kamen Rider Agito was planned to be the end. And I heard rumors that Kamen Ryuki was actually, I think Kamen Ryuki took inspirations and concepts from, ideas from canceled Tokusatsu series, something Raw and Raw Nights. Now, YouTuber Buster Korb, yeah, he actually mentioned this in his Kamen Ryuki review analysis video. So that's where I found most of this from. Well, and so I was trying to. That got me thinking: was Kamen Rider Agito originally planned to be the end of the last Kamen Rider series? But then another thing got me thinking. Then there's one theory that this has got me thinking that maybe Kamen Rider Blade was probably originally planned to be the last Rider series. Now, the reason why I think this was because, here's the thing, because for Kamen Rider, you see, Kamen Rider Hibiki Now, I'm pretty sure the most of you guys know, but some of you guys probably don't know. But apparently, see, yeah, you guys pretty much already probably already know. Most of you Kamen Rider fans probably know. But Kamen Rider Hibiki was not originally planned to be a Rider series. It was not planned to be in the early production of the show. It wasn't planned to be anything related to Kamen Rider. It also have no connection with Kamen Rider at all. It was supposed to be a different Tokusatsu series, and I think it was gonna have a different name. And I think the name was something Hibiki something. But at the last minute, I guess they decided they decided to make the series, a Kamen Rider series because basically for branding purposes. So I guess Kamen Rider Hibiki kind of became a Kamen Rider series mainly just for branding purposes. I mean, because like watch the series all, it doesn't feel like a Kamen Rider series. The writers don't say henshin. They don't use their belts to transform. You know, none of the writers have a rider kick. Yeah, and eventually, and sure, Hibiki's tone does change later on the second half to make it an actual, feel like an actual Kamen Rider series. Yeah, because we guys all know the trouble production that Comrade Hibiki went through. That some of the actors were frustrated with certain things, certain changes, and thoughts of so was less written. And yeah, the second half did kind of, from what I hear from everybody, that the second half was a completely different show. Like the mood changed. To be honest, I couldn't really get into Hibiki that much. I mean, I saw like a couple clips of it and much, but nothing really about the series really caught my interest that much. I mean, I guess the suits are okay. They don't seem that appealing. You know, so I was kind of so that kind of got me wondering because that Comrade Hibiki wasn't planned to be a Rider series. It was supposed to be a different Tokusatsu series. So that got me thinking that maybe Kamen Rider Blade was originally Toei was playing on the ending Kamen Rider with Kamen Rider Blade, and then you know Kamen Rider Hibiki was supposed to be maybe lead off to a different Tokusatsu franchise or just be a standalone Tokusatsu series in general. That kind of got me thinking. So I was starting to think, was Toei really planning on ending Kamen Rider early? They weren't planning on keeping the series that long. So all this got kind of got me thinking. But another thing that kind of got me thinking, like if they were planning on ending it after or if Blade was possibly planned to be the last Kamen Rider series, and after that, Toei was probably gonna make a new Tokusatsu series. So one thing that it has kind of been revealed, like for Kamen Rider, and this is also for Super Sentai and even I think Ultraman, and this is probably maybe the case for Metal Heroes and even Garo. I don't know, but well, I guess mainly the first four I mentioned. That the next season to come after the previous season is kind of like planned ahead of time, like out of 2 years in advance. So I do so maybe like Kama Ryuki was probably planned, during Kuga's airing, and like something like that. Because I'm not sure you guys remember, like last year I made a video like is Sentai working on the next Sentai for 2025 this year, and apparently it looks like they probably were. Because like last year when Boom Boom was airing, I was wondering like what the next Sentai for 2025 like, is Toei already working at it, and it looks like they actually were. Like from what I heard, I heard this from certain YouTubers. So I heard from it's like 2 years in advance, and I think this was also said in interviews, many interviews. So like one thing I wanted, like Kamen Rider Kabuto, which was actually my first Rider series I seen back in 2006. Was Kamen Rider Kabuto, was it planned? Was it being like conceptualized, conceptualized during Kamen Rider Blade's airing, or maybe like near the end of Blade's airing? I don't know. So it does kind of got me thinking. So overall, I was just kind of thinking like, was Toei really gonna like end Kamen Rider somewhere in the early to mid 2000s and just maybe didn't create a brand new Tokusatsu series? Yes, they had Kamen Rider in the 80s. they had Metal Heroes in the '90s, and maybe in the 2000s they're probably gonna do something different. No, wait. No, Metal Heroes was also Kamen Rider was '70s and '80s. I think, yeah. And Metal Heroes was '80s and '90s, and maybe for the 2000s they were probably and onward they probably gonna do something else. Like, who knows? Maybe the original idea for Kamen Rider Hibiki before it was transformed into a Rider series, maybe it was planned to be a different Tokusatsu series altogether. We really don't. Well, we really don't know. Unless there's probably more details. So that got me thinking, was Kabuto? So was Kabuto really planned during while Blade was airing? Because yeah. So for example, so Blade was probably conceptualized during Ryuki's airing and when they were filming Fies, and Fies was probably conceptualized during Agito's airing while they were filming Ryuki. Because I hear that the next Rider series is often filmed while the previous Rider series is is basically airing. Like for example, Kamen Rider Kiva. When Kamen Rider Kiva was airing, Kamen Rider Double was actually filmed. Because fun fact for most of you that probably know or probably don't know, Kamen Rider Double was actually supposed to be the next Kamen Rider series after Kiva. But Kamen Rider Decade was made mainly because they wanted to do a shift between Sentai and Rider to have Kamen Rider end early, and then you know they didn't want Sentai and Rider to compete with the toy sales during the same time, because before from Kuga and Time Ranger up to Kabuto and Bulk Ranger, Sentai and Rider were aired side by side. No way. From Kuga and Time Ranger up to Go Ranger and Kiva and Go Ranger. That's what I meant to say. My bad. Sentai and Rider were aired side by side with each other, and the last time we kind of got this was, Shin Decade and Shin Shinkenger in the early half decade. Shin Shinkenger and Decade in the early half in early 2009, and then Decade ended in the summer of 2009, and the Kamen Rider Double took over. And that's kind of interesting to know that Kamen Rider Double was actually planned to be the second series. Was planned to be the next series after Kiva. And Double does kind of follow the similar trends that Den-O and Kiva do have, where it's a rider that has many different forms, and one secondary rider, and you pretty much get the gist of it. So yeah, but there's just a lot of them that we just don't know, So who knows? Was Toei really planning on ending Kamen Rider in the mid 2000s, somewhere around the 2000s? Was Agito planned to be the last Rider series, or was Blade planned to be the last Rider series? Well, it does look like that first Agito was, but then when 9/11 happened, they decided they did Ryuki because one of the executives at Toei tried to convince him to keep the show going, and then I guess maybe Blade probably was. But the reason why I say that was because how Hibiki was planned to be a different Tokusatsu series altogether. But then, it became Rider series, then we got Kabuto, then we got Den-O. Everyone's fan favorite, Toei's fan favorite, everybody seems like Den-O. And then Kiva and Decade, Double O's, so on and so forth. So, yeah, it does kind of got me thinking. Or maybe Toei probably decided to change their mind and just keep Kamen Rider going. I guess after Hibiki, they decided to just keep Kamen Rider going. And despite the fact that Hibiki didn't perform well on the ratings and had miserable, abysmal toy sales, they decided to still keep going. I mean, now from what I hear, Kabuto didn't have great toy sales either. So I guess Kamen Rider was struggling with the toy sales. I don't know. Well, I mean, I'm pretty sure Den-O probably did well in toy sales because Den-O is everybody's favorite Rider series. Den-O just exploded in popularity, and Toei seems to love Den-O a lot. So, yeah. I still love Kamen Rider, I might do some more Kamen Rider content on the channel. You guys go ahead and let me know. So, yeah. That'll be it for this video. You guys let me know what you guys think, and do you guys have any more information about what Toei's original plan was for Kamen Rider in the 2000s? Were they planning to end it, or they decided to just keep it going? We need to, yeah, maybe some more details will come out. We don't know. So yeah, feel free to like, share, and subscribe, and all that jazz. And I'll have more videos coming up in the future. This is Kamen Rider 64 signing up. One last thing. It's time for a rider kick. Yeah.